Do you find yourself giving your fretting hand the death stare every time you play guitar? What if you didn't have to? Imagine being able to move from chord to chord smoothly and confidently without having to look at that hand. You absolutely can move from one chord to the next confidently and smoothly without having to look down at your hands, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm Joshua Kenson, and this is Kenson Guitar Academy. I help new guitarists reach their musical goals. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. Now, what even is the benefit to not looking down at your hands while you're playing? Well, first off, I think it's a mindset thing. We often stare at our hands because we aren't confident that they are going to get to the places that they need to get to. I'm all for using our eyes to help us along the way, but we can't use them as a crutch. We have to train ourselves to be able to move from chord to chord without looking down at our hands all the time. When we're staring down at that fretting hand, we're really focused on making sure that we get that chord change on time, but at the same time, we're pulling focus away from things like dynamics and even the rhythm of the song. So the first thing that I suggest is learn how to glance, not stare. We have eyes and we should use them, but we can't be so fixated on what's going on here that we are neglecting everything else. So let's take the chord change E minor to A sus2. There's nothing wrong with glancing down at our hands to make sure that we're going to do the chord change right. But don't be fixated on it. Allow yourself to glance and then look away. Listen to what you're doing. Use your eyes, you have them. Allow them to be a resource, but don't be like this. Trust that you can do it without this. Look away. Try closing your eyes. The problem isn't looking at our hands. It's constantly looking at our hands that's the problem. So to practice the glance, not the stare, we're actually going to start with a stare. So let's get in position here, E minor, and we are going to really pay attention to what we're doing here the first couple times through, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor. Look at what you're doing. Get those chord changes in there, and then just look away. Allow yourself to trust your hands. Close your eyes if you want to. And pay attention to how it feels. When we put so much emphasis on our eyes, we're neglecting what the chords feel like, what it feels like to move from one to the next. Pay attention to those things. That's where you're going to build your muscle memory and eventually be able to not even have to look at any of these chords, and you're just going to move right to them. Now practice this technique over numerous chord changes. Just take 2 chords at a time. Do ones that are fairly easy. So A minor to C major to G major, E minor to G major, maybe E major to A minor. All these chord changes that either have very low movement or even something in common between the 2 chords. A minor to C major, perfect thing. It's just moving one finger back and forth, and you're really able to focus on what it feels like to move from chord to chord without looking at your hands, and to start to build some confidence in that. The key here is to build muscle memory. If you can drive your car and type on your computer, you have built muscle memory. So now we're trying to do the same exact thing with our guitar. So breaking this down into its simplest form, let's just take a chord and see if we can work on building muscle memory on how to get to that chord. So let's take E minor, simple, 2 fingers. First I'm going to use my eyes and get into position because that's what we're used to doing. But then what I'm going to do is look away, and I'm going to release that chord and see if I can get back to it without looking. So first let's get on that chord how we normally would. I'm going to look at my fingers, get them into place. Let's check the chord. Sounds good. So what I'm going to do now is look away, and I'm going to lift my fingers up, put them back down, and see if it sounds the same. Little muted out there, so maybe I go back, check my chord. Oh, okay, my pressure wasn't what it needed to be. I was using the side of my finger, the pad of my finger, not the tip. Fix it. Okay, now look away again. Maybe close your eyes, lift up those fingers, see if you can bring it back down. Check it. Oh, wrong chord. Okay, what happened? Well, I moved down, so I ended up being on an A sus2. Okay, get back to that E minor. Okay, so here's E minor again. Sounds good. Okay, so close my eyes, lift those fingers up, bring them right back down, check it again. Sounds good. We just built a little bit of muscle memory for that E minor chord. And we're going to do this with each chord that we've learned, especially in the beginning here, our A minor, C major, D major, G major, and so on. So a chord like C major that's a little bit more involved, using 3 fingers and they're a little spread out here, what you can do is just start by getting that chord into place and then just lift it up, put it back down, check it. Do it all in one motion, not dot, 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 but just one solid chord motion. Look at it as the shaping of our fingers, that grouping of fingers, not individual fingers. We want to think of it as one unit, okay? After you do that a few times and you check it, fingers off, back on, check it. Now look away, fingers off, back on, check it. Oh, it didn't sound as good. Reposition, fingers off, back on, check it. Look away, fingers off, back on, check it. That's what we're looking for. We are building muscle memory. It's important to know what it feels like to land that chord correctly, because we can also build muscle memory that isn't so helpful. So as you are practicing this, make sure that you are putting to memory what it feels like when the chord is correct, and then noticing when it is incorrect. Because if you reinforce bad muscle memory, it's just going to make it that much more difficult for you to get that chord to ring out correctly without having to look at your fretboard. So step 2 is take it chord by chord. Get that chord in position, lift up, put down, check it, lift up, put down, check it. Take your eyes away from the fretboard, lift up, put down, check it. And you just do that with every chord that you can. And eventually your fingers just get more proficient in general. So you're not gonna have to do this eventually with every single new chord that you learn. Your fingers just become more well-trained and are able to apply those things immediately. Now, another exercise you can do, if you even really wanna call this an exercise, this is a very low-key exercise, is to play the guitar as much as you can, okay? And what I mean by that is not focused practice, but having the instrument in your hands as much as possible with low pressure, right? We're not even sitting here with like a goal in mind or anything like that. You're just noodling around on the instrument. I can't tell you how much I probably annoyed the crap out of my parents growing up, because just sitting down and watching TV, for me, it was probably The Simpsons growing up, and just having my guitar in my hands, not even paying attention to what I'm doing, but just kind of running through stuff, having fun with it. It was just a part of my everyday experience. That is very low-key practice, but the more you have the instrument in your hands, practicing things even with not a goal in mind, you are developing muscle memory. You are reinforcing those things that you maybe did in your more focused practice earlier that day. So maybe in that focused practice, you were doing all your exercises that we just talked about here. You were playing your scales, all this stuff, and then you bust out the guitar when you're on the couch, and you're just kind of not even paying attention, running through some stuff, playing a melody, playing a couple chords. That is also developing muscle memory though. So a very low-key thing that you can do is just keep that guitar around, keep it accessible. If you have a show that you watch every night, have that guitar out with you and just mess around a little bit. Now you can do the same thing that we did with these chords with scales as well. And this is even really good practice for your picking hand as well, because when you're strumming, we're kind of, not afraid to catch multiple strings, obviously. And if you happen to catch a string that isn't in the chord, it's not like a huge deal. But with a scale, if you miss that string that you were meaning to strike, it's a lot less forgiving. So maybe you just take this crawling exercise to begin with. All this is the open string, first fret, second fret, third fret. And we do that on every string. And you can look at your hand here. Notice I'm not looking at my right hand, but then look away. See if you can maintain this without having to look at your hand every second. Close your eyes. And if you can get through this, you have some really good accuracy in your both picking hand and fretting hand. Then apply that same thing to some scales, whether it's an open scale, a closed position scale, if you play it in a pattern. All these small variations are helping you build muscle memory, which is ultimately the thing that allows you not to feel fixated with your eyes on that fretboard, building that muscle memory. This isn't something that you're going to master in a week, in a month, 3 months, a year. This is an ongoing process. It's going to take you some time to incorporate and build that muscle memory for those more advanced techniques. Really what I think the goal should be is look at your hands when you want to, but don't have to look at your hands. Don't let it be something that is absolutely a crutch for you where you cannot look away from the fretboard. I really think that's more of a confidence in your playing thing, not so much a thing that you actually need to do. So allow yourself to pull your eyes away from your fretboard every once in a while, glance when it's helpful, but don't stare. I hope that you found this video helpful. I have the full lesson notes PDF linked down below on my Patreon, as well as some video practice tutorials I have coming out as well on there. If you have any questions about this video or any guitar related questions in general, drop a comment down below and I'll get back to it as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Joshua Kenson and I'll see you in the next one.